6:30, almost 31, so I guess it's time to get started. My name is David Ditch, and I'm the director here at the Robinson Center for Appalachian Resources Sustainability. I want to welcome you all tonight. Glad that you're here for the cutting board workshop, part of our Mountain Monday program. If you haven't been following, pick up one of these. You can see what programs are left in 2012. And just wanted to draw your attention particularly to the next one, September 10th. And I don't know whether this has great appeal to everyone or anyone in this audience, but it's hog finishing and processing. Yeah, all right. Well, if you don't process or finish out your own meat, maybe you know someone who does. There are several in the county, I know, that are very much into that. And I think we'll have a pretty decent crowd. But we're very fortunate we've got Dr. Greg Renfro, who is the meat specialist at the University of Kentucky. He'll be our instructor that night. So if you know someone who enjoys doing that kind of thing, they process their own meat, please let them know about this particular event. It's free of charge. Same sort of setup. It's Monday, September the 10th. We'll meet at the auditorium, the building up on top of the hill at 6:30 p.m. And if they want any other information about the details, they can call our office, talk to Jackie Allen, and she can give them all the what for us and where to go. So anyway, that's Mountain Monday program. Look at the others. I think some of the others that might be more appealing to you are wreath making, beekeeping, beginning quilting. Okay, so we kind of wrap up 2012 with the quilting Mountain Monday program. Also, our farmers market, really starting to gain some traction with our UK farmers market. It's over here at the Volunteer Fire Department, Quicksand. We have some regularly scheduled hours, but folks are showing up, selling their locally grown produce when it's available. We had a very successful event a week ago Friday, called it a farmers market celebration. Figured we had about 400 folks go through. Sarah Brandon was with us tonight, family consumer science specialist. Her and some of her colleagues did some taste testing, some demonstrations. The FFA students at Brentwood High were involved. So it's a big event, and not to mention all the fresh produce that you can purchase. So, Celebration 2 is Friday, August 24th. So put that on your schedule. Don't do all your vegetable shopping until you come here first. All right? Now, most of you may be consumers, but we are looking for producers too. I can tell you that if you have a family member, a son or daughter who desperately needs summer employment, growing a garden and selling at the farmer's market is an ideal way to supplement one's income. We have far more demand for fruits and vegetables than we have supply. So, no problem with the market at all. You produce it, we can sell it here at the farmer's market. So keep that in mind. The last thing I want to sort of put on your radar, it's just a little bit off, but it's our Taste of the Mountains Field Day here at Quicksand on Saturday, September the 22nd. This is our big College of Ag event that we host every other year. Lots of displays, exhibits. We're going to be providing about 16 different items for taste testing, things we kind of associate with our Appalachian culture, and then farm tours. If you've got a particular subject that you're interested in, beekeeping, whether it's beef cattle, sweet sorghum production, we've got a farm tour for you. So put that on your schedule, big day, hopefully we'll have great weather and a big crowd. Okay, that's all my advertising. You all are here to make a cut, and your instructor tonight is Bobby Ameren. Bobby is a forest products specialist with the Department of Forestry, headquartered here at Quicksand. Really his responsibilities cover the entire state, but tonight he's going to teach you guys how to make a cutting board and also give you some information about the different species that are used to make cutting boards and how to take care of them. So Bobby, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, we throw around the word specialist around here way too much.
You are a specialist.
I'm going to play a little trick on Anthony, because I'm going to talk to you over here, so he can't hit me on that speaker thing. Anyway, just a couple house cleaning things. Everybody knows does everybody know where the bathrooms are? Go this way to the right, back over in this corner. Just out of curiosity, there's some familiar faces I see here. How many of you have actually done this workshop here before? This very one? A whole lot of you. I don't have anything else to talk about, so, hopefully we'll get too bored. I wanted to explain a little bit to get started. Some of these products you see sitting up here, those are done by an entrepreneurship program we have here at the Wood Center. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about those, but one of the fellows walking around here, his name's John Markham. Just introduce you to him. He's one of the entrepreneurs that's done some of these products right here. He's trying to get a business started. So he's kind of working out of the Wood Center. We're kind of mentoring him and kind of doing all that stuff together. If there's something here you want to buy, I'm sure you can catch up with him later. So, but anyway, it's John. So if you wonder, I just kind of introduced him because he's going to be wandering around, so you didn't know who's that guy. That's who he is.
You can look at things, and if you have any questions, just let me know. And I've got some cards in this room in here that are open to pick out. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure he'd like to say this. You might want to stay arm relief. These are the boards we're going to be making today. Okay, and basically what we're going to do is we've got these, we've got them somewhat made up. They're not 100% complete, maybe 60 or 70% complete. So, but we will walk you through all the steps for making them, so you are aware how we do that. Because of limited time, some of our things, we just can't really do that in 2 hours. So we got these somewhat completed, and we'll finish them up out here today. And then you get to put your own engraving on, so you can be thinking about that. What do you want to put on? This one here says Mom's Kitchen, but you can put whatever you want. We would like to keep it to text, so we're not here until midnight. Text we can do pretty quickly, but if you picture something, it takes you forever. So anything you want to write on here, we can use it very quickly. So think about what you want. Now we're kind of conversed around here, so. While we got you here, we want to talk to you a little bit about forest health and some of the things that's going on in our forest. And those of you that's been here before, I'm going to talk about Emerald Ash Borer. There's actually been some changes to the quarantine, some things involved in Emerald Ash. So you'll get to learn a little bit, add to your expertise a little bit from last time. Now basically the species that we use are walnut, maple, and ash. I actually have all three leaning against these cabinets over here. And we chose these three species for a reason. Because these three species are under attack by some foreign invaders that basically, at least in the case of ash, is just wiping out the ash trees. So I'll go into a little bit more detail about that later, what we're doing, and what the future may look like for ash, which is not very promising. Before I get into that, let's talk about which one's which. Walnut's darker brown color. Can you guys recognize which one's walnut? One in the middle, right? Don, you're not allowed to say, I saw the others can't guess it. Don Barnes he's a forester, and he teaches down at the Hatch Community College at Police Campus. And so he's well aware of what these species are and the implication in Emerald Ash Borer. So we're not going to let him say too much unless we guess I'm going to ask you a question. Maple, that's light color, smooth texture. That one might be a little more difficult for you to pick out.
Ours was that.
This one?
No, that was the short one.
This one? All right. Now, was you here last time, or? See, I did a pretty good job. You knew what you wanted.
Remember anyway.
From here, I mean.
Well, you can tell the difference in it. You work on that, I guess.
The ash is a lot more grainier. You can actually see that from back in the room. You
Yeah,
can see all that
you can see
grain.
that, yeah.
For the smooth texture, you can't. It's more, has a more even tone, should I say. So those are the three: walnut, maple, and ash. And we'll start with walnut. So I got a couple of questions for you. What products are made from walnut? Huh? Furniture? Just any old furniture?
Beds.
Not normal, pretty high-end stuff usually, right? All right. And a lot of architectural millwork. When I say architectural millwork, we're talking like baseboards, crown molding, high-end cabinets, those kind of things that would be built and installed directly in the home, would be part of the home when the process is completed. Anybody know how much walnut costs? Well, if I told you it was the most expensive wood that we have grown in Kentucky, would you believe me? And most of the time it is. Cherry every once in a while sneak up and will be command a little bit higher value. But for the most part, walnut is the highest value wood that we have grown in the forest, and traditionally has always been. And right now for a board foot, anybody know what a board foot is? Board foot's 12 by 12 inches. Okay, roughly 1 inch thick.
Like that, on the wall.
Yeah, about the size of that. So that, if that was a piece of wood right there hanging on the wall, that would cost $3.18 before we done anything to it. Right? It gives you an idea how expensive lumber can be. Especially walnut, because like I said, it is our highest value wood. Now that's for the best grade, and of course there's lower grades. One common would be around $1.80. And how plentiful are walnut trees? Anybody want to guess? Say out of 100, how many trees out there you think out of 100 walnut trees growing?
5.
How many?
Yes, 5.
5, that's a pretty good guess. Anybody else?
30.
30?
I was gonna say 10.
10?
Up 3.
3? What do you think, Don? You're probably pretty good. 2 or 3? Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty good guesses. About 1 out of every 100 is a walnut tree growing out there. So, yeah, not many. That's in Kentucky. If you go to some other states like Missouri or Indiana, that percentage goes up. I don't know how much it goes up, but it does go up some. So, but here in this part of the world, about 1 out of every 100 trees is walnut. How about maple? What products are made from maple?
Musical instruments.
There is some musical instruments made out of maple.
Bowling alleys.
Bowling alleys are good. Now you weren't supposed to say anything.
Sorry.
You just can't help it. Bowling alleys are really good one. What else?
Kitchen cabinet.
Some kitchen cabinets, actually a whole lot of kitchen cabinets, to be honest with
Full pocket or
Before American Woodmark went out down the road here, 30 or 40% of the production was maple. So maple was big. Anything else? What other products? There's a couple that you still haven't mentioned that's really unique about maple. What? Yeah, this is really a wood product, but yeah, you do get maple syrup, maple trees. Yeah, gym floors. Gym floors. Just about any gym floor that you're going to come across is made out. Not all of it, but the overwhelming majority is made out of maple. And then the other one I was trying to get you to tell me is baseball bats. 40% of Major League Baseball bats out of maple, which I think is kind of
They say on the crossword they're ash.
Huh?
On the crossword they always say ash.
Well, it's not giving you the complete story.
I was going to say, we've been wrong.
Matter of fact, there's some issues with using maple because they want to shatter easier than the ash do. So you have some players that just really want the maple, but there is some issues with them shattering. At least they shatter more often than the ash break. How about the cost of maple? It's about $3.18 or $1.18, so it's almost a third the value of walnut. Still pretty prized species, wood species, but not near as expensive as walnut or cherry for that matter. How plentiful are these trees? Out of 100, how many we got growing out there?
I'll stick with 10.
10?
I say 2.
2?
20.
20? Don, what do you think?
No, don't let me
Talking
answer.
about scratch and the cherry trees.
Little ones. They had to be big enough to show up in the FIA data.
All of them.
Size, probably 30.
30? Yeah, 6.
6? Which four's
Yeah, pull that right off the, right now. Maybe it's just those little sectors that you got to stuff. Yeah, well, all the saplings out there, you know, most of them, yeah. So that must be, like said, mature trees. Now ash, what products are made from ash?
Baseball bat.
Baseball bats. I think I already told you that one, didn't I? Anything else? Floors? Yeah, there's some floors made out of ash. Sure. Anything else? Yeah, bats is the big one. Then there's some cabinets that's made from ash and everything. It's very good wood. You can use it just about in any application. You can use oak or any other species. Very nice wood. I really prefer it really over oak and some of the other ones. Cost, $1.80 board feet, about the same as the maple. Of course, with this emerald ash board, you're liable to see that increase quite a bit. What's going to happen? What we think is going to happen, be very valuable, maybe more so even one. And how plentiful are these trees? We've had one and we had 6. I think it's more or less
Five.
10.
4,
Three.
2. Yeah, 4's not bad. That's about 3 out of every 100 trees out there is an ash. In this part of the world, you get in Indiana and Ohio and even northern Kentucky, the percentages go up for ash.
Of course.
Now here's the bug that's bothering the ash. It's called the emerald ash borer. And this thing we first noticed it in 2002. And that might have been here a little bit longer than that, probably not much longer, because it only takes about 2 or 3 years for this thing to kill a tree. It's native to Asia, another product that we've imported, right? It would be nice if we package that and send it back. Things got loose.
Does it have kind of like a hard shell to it?
Huh?
Does it have kind of like a hard shell to it?
I don't know. I've never really handled one. Don't really know.
Something you said it there, yeah.
I suspect it's pretty similar to many other boring insects. The mortality rate, like I already said, for ash trees is nearly 100%. There's a few trees in Canada, for some reason that has survived. They don't know why. And you can imagine there's probably 100 researchers just gathering those trees every day trying to figure out why. But anyway, for the most part, it's a 100% mortality rate. And it feeds on in the cambium layer of the tree. There's actually one cell in the tree that actually is living or growing. And of course, that's where all the nutrients and water is and everything is in the tree. So this is not unique to emerald ash borer, but bugs that bore the trees, they like that layer. That's where all the food is, the food sources. So this bug likes that layer as well. And he's a little different than the other ones. You know, we have boring insects that get in trees all the time, but they typically, when they go in and eat, they go kind of up and down the tree like this. This guy likes to get in there and he goes completely around the tree. And it basically cuts off all the nutrients and water supply to the tree and will eventually kill it. We'll say eventually, actually happens pretty quick, a couple 3 years. And it's basically, this thing come into the Michigan area and it's basically just killed all the ash trees in northern Indiana and southern Michigan, just wiped them out. No ash trees left there. So it is a serious situation. There are a few treatments. Bayer actually makes a product that you can take it. If the tree's not real mature, you can sprinkle around the tree and it'll, I don't know if it kills the insects, but it drives them away, they won't bother the tree. But now if the tree's very mature, then that procedure don't work and you have to go to something that's a little more invasive, which costs a lot more money. So, you know, if we have a couple of trees in our yard, we might treat them, but, you know, we're not going to go out there and treat the forest. You know, the wood's not worth enough money to pay us to try to save them that way. We first found the bug in 2009, summer 2009. I think I want to think Jessamine County was the first place that they were found. We were there in Jefferson County. And of course, since then you'll see, I'll show you a chart in a minute, you'll see how far it's spread here in Kentucky, so it's really taken off. It prefers green ash, although it will bother the white and blue ash as well, but it prefers the green ash. And in the summer of 2010, we found it in Knoxville. So it kind of jumped a whole section of Kentucky and ended up in Knoxville somehow. So that was sort of a bad thing that happened, because that was unexpected. Nobody foreseen it would make that kind of jump. It has a flight zone of 5 miles. So in other words, this thing can only move on its own 5 miles or less a year. So it jumped from northern Kentucky all the way down to Knoxville. So somehow it got carried down there, didn't it? And we suspect it happened from campers. At least that's what everybody suspects. So, you know, you got wood that's dying, being cut in Michigan, Indiana, you know, primarily for firewood. You just throw it up the edge of your yard, you get ready to go on a camping trip, what's the first thing you think? One, we're going to grab a few of these logs, take down so much to buy firewood when we're down there. So everybody thinks it's exactly how it's moving. And if you look at the locations where it's showing up, a lot of times it is showing up next to a highway or an interstate or a campground. So it really looks like that's how it's moving. Now here's a quarantine map. Of course, the feds are involved in this, and each state that it's located in gets involved as well. So basically, there's been a quarantine set up, so you're really not allowed to move ash. If you look at these blue areas right here, outlined in blue, you're really not allowed to move ash products or hardwood firewood outside of those areas, okay? Now, until a few months ago, you couldn't move it from one state to the next, even if both states were in the quarantine. They've changed that now, so you can move ash from state to state as long as both parts of the states are inside the quarantine, okay? But you can see since '02 how fast this thing has moved. I mean, it's really moving quick, 10 years. And then here in Kentucky, this purple was the original quarantine area in Kentucky. And now they've added, you see these green ones just last year, they've added actually back in March, I think, of this year. And then here's the traps they set out. You seen them purple or green traps hanging from trees, you wonder what they were? What they are. They actually put a pheromone from ash somehow or another, and they put it in those traps, and that's supposed to draw the bugs to the trap, and there's sticky stuff in the traps, and they just get caught in there. So they put them up, I think, right outside the flight zone forum, which is in early April or May. It probably takes them to May, maybe sometimes till June to get them up, and then they start taking them down about September, October, and checking them. So the ones that you see up now, they'll be coming down here in a month or so. So in 2011, there were 1,600 traps in 96 Kentucky counties. Now, due to the budget, 2012, I think, is less than half that they put out because of the budget situation. Just didn't have as much anymore out. The little triangles are where they found it in 2011. Okay, so you can see, we picked up a few counties here. Anderson County, 2011 was the first time it was found. Boyle County, Bracken County, Scott County. Actually, Scott County was already inside the quarantine, so they didn't increase the quarantine, but they did find it in the county. They had found it in that county before. And of course, you're seeing more and more of these signs everywhere you go, right? You know, if you drive down the Cumberland Parkway toward Lake Cumberland, these are everywhere. Matter of fact, they even got some big billboards that APHIS has put up to just try to get people not to haul firewood, especially not to bring the firewood in areas where we don't have the bug now. Now, the feds have been working on trying to slow down the spread, so they've been trying to develop communities of these wasps here in the U.S. And they're actually wasps from Asia, and they have had some success in Asia keeping the population of this bug down. So the thought was, well, we'll bring them over here, of course, and we'll turn them loose and slow down the bug. Of course, you know what happens when we do that. Unexpected things always happen. The funny thing about this wasp is they actually had to grow, the laboratory where these wasps were grown, they had to also grow the emerald ash borer as well, which just blows my mind, you know. So I don't know if they had to have them for specimens for the wasp or they was trained. I don't know what the reason was, but they had to grow the emerald ash borer right along with the wasp. And I just find it hilarious. But we are trying to get rid of them, and we have to grow them. And there's been some releases, 2 releases in Kentucky, but they don't really look. They think it'll take several years before we really see the results from it. So, now, 1,000 cankers. That's the of these 3, that the 1,000 cankers is attacking the walnut. And now, we're concerned about the ash, right? The ash is $1.18 a board foot, right? Or was it $1.23? Maybe it's $1.23. But now we got something that's affecting our highest value timber in Kentucky. So this one has really got people really excited. If you thought the ash got folks excited, boy, this one here, we are all really concerned about. Because we use walnut in a lot of different ways, and we get a lot of economic input from processing walnut and growing walnut. So it's a real, could be a real disaster. Now, the bug itself is actually called a twig beetle. Now the twig beetle, you can see how small this thing is. See, there's the lead on a pencil, and there's one of the bugs right there. So this thing is really tiny, and they're hard to see, hard to even find. So they could be in a tree for a while before you even know they're in there, right? Now, the bug itself, it doesn't really kill the tree. It has a fungus that's naturally on the bug, a parasite, and it's that parasite that leaves behind that actually kills the tree. So the bug itself doesn't really do it. Now, this bug is native to the U.S. This particular one we didn't import, believe it or not. It's been out in the West for years, okay? But what we did do is there were some folks out west that said, hey, you know, I want some walnut trees in my yard. So what do you think we did? We started bringing walnut trees to the bug. And, you know, they got in the walnut and probably, you know, in seedlings, probably some kind of orchard or something out there, or nursery, sent some seedlings back over this way. And we think that's how I got here. Now, right now, this bug's not in Kentucky. It was found in Knoxville 2 weeks from the date that the emerald ash borer was found in Knoxville, kind of suspiciously. But it was found in Knoxville, and since 2009 it was found in Knoxville, it's also now been found in Richmond, Virginia, or just outside of Richmond, Virginia, just outside of Philadelphia, PA. And as far as I know, those are only 3 locations that were found east of the Mississippi River. We've been concerned about this bug for years. We know it's there. We knew it had a problem out west. We're just hoping we never see it this side of the Mississippi, but it's here. Now, there is no federal quarantine on this bug. Why is there not a federal quarantine on this bug? Anybody want to guess at that?
Because it's native.
Because it's native. Exactly. It's not an invasive species. At least not in the continental U.S. So therefore, the feds are just standing back, letting the states kind of handle this. Now, eventually, the feds might get involved with enough pressure from the state. Right now, they're just got their hands back and say, well, it's a state's problem, state's issue. And so Tennessee went ahead and put a quarantine around 8 counties surrounding Knoxville all the way up to the Kentucky state line. You have some states like Missouri, and I think maybe even Illinois, that have said, hey, look, we're not going to let walnut from Tennessee come into our borders. You can't come here. So the states are, you know, they're really paying attention. You know, so I don't know how much the feds in the end will have to get involved. Because the state's really concerned, because if you can't move walnut freely, you know, it's going to be a real problem. And all states are concerned about getting it in their state because it's valuable in all the other states as well besides Kentucky. So, you know, everybody's concerned about it. By the way, there you can see what it does to the tree. So that's why they call it 1,000 cankers. It just kind of creates a fester on the tree that just, you know, enough of them, you know, and then eventually they're canker enough of them, and then eventually cuts off the food supply of the tree. And you can see what starts to happen. You see the dieback in the trees. And the ash does exactly the same thing, the same kind of dieback. You know. So I don't know if how many of you got walnut trees around your yard? They look like that anyway, don't they? So I ain't gonna know. You know, it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, walnut trees are the last to get their leaves in the spring and the first to lose in the fall. Right, Don? Well, there might be some other species out there that are a little faster, but I mean, but for the trees that you're familiar with, that walnut probably loses its leaves first and gets them earliest in the spring. So.
Does it slow down the production of their walnuts? Would that be a way?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So they
would
were
affect,
producing and then they just
Yeah.
sort of stopped?
Yeah.
You might go look and see if you can find it.
Yeah, see if you can find them cankers now. I know with the emerald ash borer, it starts at the top of the tree, and I'm not sure about this bug. I suspect it goes up in the crown too, but I don't know. Don, you familiar with it? I'm not sure about that, but it's devastating the trees. Now, it takes a little longer for this bug to kill the walnut tree. It takes several years for this bug to kill a walnut tree, where the emerald ash borer will kill an ash tree in no time. So they start to and these beetles, because they're so small or whatever, that you find them in walnut by the thousands. So these 2 little pieces of log, they found 23,000 beetles in the logs. It's kind of funny. I don't know if that's what's in that jar or not. I don't know what's in that jar.
So
That's
this
a lot of
stays in the
beetles.
living trees, like walnut that's already cut and planed, they wouldn't.
Well,
Wouldn't they be in walnut lumber?
here's the thing. If the lumber or the log has a low enough moisture content that chances are this bug won't affect it. Or if that cambium layer has been removed, either one of these bugs. But they don't really know if the moisture content is, is high enough and the cambium layer still exists. They're not real sure if that bug will get in that wood or not. They suspect it will, but don't think they know 100% definitely one way or the other. But we do know if the cambium layer is gone and it's dried, 6 or 8% like it would be when in your house, neither one of these bugs probably bother. Okay. And then I've already said here's the distribution, these 3 places that they found it. And we can see where it was out west, all these that have lettering on them, these locations, previously known locations. Notice it's skipping Nevada. Is that just because it's the desert?
It's too dry.
There's nothing can grow there. And again, there's some more signs for the blue firewood. Now the Asian longhorn beetle, that's what's bothering the maple. That was first discovered in 1996. And it has also been found in Chicago, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and then in 2011 in Bethel, Ohio, which is just outside of Cincinnati. Okay. This is another Asian beetle, and this thing is pretty devastating when it gets in a tree. I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. The treatments, you basically just, if you find an area, you just wipe out every maple tree that's even close to the vicinity. And the reason is because this thing has a short flight distance, only 400 feet. Right? So if you can kill the trees that it likes to mess with, create a 400-mile or a 400 feet or so radius around those trees, then they think it can't infiltrate other trees because they've created a barrier. So, and they have had success with that. Both the New Jersey and Chicago areas they've eradicated the bug. So that has shown some reason for optimism there. See, you got to know here it only spreads 1,000 feet per year, so not a big radius unless we move it, through firewood or something. It does attack some other species, horse chestnut, maple, or poplar, buckeye, elm, birch, sycamore, hackberry, and even ash, poor ash. It just can't get a break, can it? But it will take other species, but it prefers maple. Notice the size of this bug too, there's a quarter. Look how big this thing is compared to the emerald ash borer, the Dallas Cavers. And then here it's so big, look at the damage it does, and that's actually excrement from the bugs. So it's pretty, man, it gets in there, it wreaks havoc quick. And again, a couple more signs. Now there is one other that not related here to these species that we do have here in Kentucky, and it's called the hemlock woolly adelgid, and it's been around for a while. First discovered in 1995 in North Carolina. There is no quarantine for this one. Anybody want to guess why there's no quarantine? And this isn't invasive. Anybody want to guess why there's no quarantine for this bug? I've already given you enough information to know the answer, by the way, not that I'm putting any pressure on you. Any thoughts? I want somebody ought to get this one.
Hemlock's not worth much.
It is not worth much. Nobody wants hemlock for hardly anything. There is, sometimes people put it on the side of a barn or side of a house or something like that. But if you try to machine it, it just wants to splinter and explode. It's hard to machine, hard to work with. I don't think it dries very straight. It wants to cut and curl and do all that kind of stuff in the dry. So it's just really not a good commercial wood, okay? So there's no money in the pot to deal with it because of that. So, everybody sort of let their hands go and say, well, it's going to be what it's going to be. Now, we have an ecological reason, though, to be concerned. Where do these things tend to grow?
Rocky areas.
Maybe, a little bit.
Probably
That's not what I'm looking for, though. Huh?
National Forest.
They do. They will be in the national forest. Now, help us out. Where they grow? Right along streams, right? And they provide canopy for that water stream or that water system, don't they? So if you remove this tree, now they're afraid that that's going to heat up our streams and really be a negative thing on the ecological aspects of the streams, especially the ones that are being shaded by these trees. okay? And that's the little guy, that's actually not the guy right there, that's fungus, some type of fungus that it gives off, which makes treating it difficult. Because when that's on, you can't treat it. The chemical won't get to the bug. So there's only just a couple months out of the year you actually spray to get rid of this bug.
I was down at Cumberland Falls yesterday, and they had a big sign, and each tree you saw with a big red painted pot was treated for that.
Yeah.
And they had said how much they had treated, and they were using donations to treat them.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's on a real small scale. See, they can spray these even from the air, you know, but the cost and then, you know, that money's got to come from somewhere other than the industry or, you know, support of the industry, you know.
In West Virginia, their parks also want you to hike and see if you can see any of that.
Yeah.
It's still more public aware than Asheville.
Yeah. The scientific community especially is really concerned over this, as they naturally should be. And then here's the range of the Leodeldi. And like we said, it started out somewhere, and you see how it spread all over the U.S. here, eastern seaboard of the U.S. The yellow was areas where it was just discovered in 2010. Okay, and then the green is areas where hemlock is growing today. So, you know, they think eventually it'll get to all of them. All right, EA questions? That's it for the bug presentation. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, and she's going to talk to you about a little bit about food safety. We think that sort of ties with the cutting board thing, and she's going to talk to you about that, some do's and don'ts in the kitchen with the boards in particular, and then after she gets done, we'll walk out here and I'll walk you through all the steps for making a cutting board. And then at some point when we're finished, we'll give you one that's not quite completed yet.